I think we found our winner. This looks incredible. Hello, I am Shay and I like to make things, and this time I'm going to attempt to make a dress that looks 2D. I don't know if it's just me, but my entire feed has been these 2D cakes. They're made of fondant, they have these brilliant black lines, and they look like they're straight from a cartoon. So immediately I was like, can I do that with a dress? So we're gonna try it. Though this is gonna be kind of experimental, it's actually gonna be a smaller, chill project. No silicone, no crazy supplies, just fabric, and we're playing with some optical illusions. I've got to start this dress out by first picking our design. This is actually the most important part because it's where I'm gonna have to figure out how this illusion is gonna work. So I'm doing a bit of research and I'm trying to identify what makes these cakes look 2D. And breaking it down, it looks like there's a couple main components. First off, it's all flat colors, there's no shading, it's very even color throughout the cake. I think this will have to transfer to a fabric that doesn't wrinkle or doesn't show wrinkles. It has to be perfectly smooth to sell that 2D illusion. Secondly, these cake designs are made of very clean, clear shapes without a ton of details. So for my dress designs, I'm going with a lot of clean, angular shapes like collared shirts and staying away from those super detail-heavy garments like tutus and stuff. I don't know why, but I'm also really drawing inspiration from like vintage clothes and like 50s and 60s because I feel like those designs would translate really well to a cartoon look. 50s fashion also had a lot of these sort of garments that already kind of give you that 2D feel with those black outlines. And that leads us to the biggest part of these cartoon cakes, the big, bold black outlines. These outlines really just make them look like they're straight out of a cartoon. So incorporating all of these 2D design elements, this is what I came up with. I put them all up for a vote and you guys like this one, so let's make a 2D pleated skirt. Before I start making my whole design, I first want to see if I was even right with this 2D illusion and I broke it down correctly, so I'm doing a proof of concept. We're gonna do this illusion the quick and easy way and take an already made pleated skirt and just paint on those black outlines. I think this one's a pretty good candidate because it has a lot of those straight lines that I can use, and I'll just like paint them on, see if it works. Well, that didn't really work. I'm just gonna freehand it. So the skirt is all painted and this is what it looks like. We're definitely on the right path. It looks very 2D. It looks very cartoony. I really do like how the black lines kind of just turn it into a sketch. I do like how that test turned out, but thinking about it more, I know I can do better. So I'm gonna grab some more supplies to test out a few more 2D techniques. Since posting this, folks have sent me a ton more ideas. I wanna try giving more of that sketchy look, so adding little lines, adding cross hatches, maybe adding some broken lines, just kind of giving it more flavor and really leaning into that painting aspect. For the second idea, I'm thinking maybe something more like cell shading and actually using different colors to give like flat shadows and highlights. I've got a couple different colors and I'm gonna see if I can try color blocking in shadows. I've got my test panel made in my first color, so now I can use my second color to stick this fabric on and make some cartoon-like shadows. So to attach this, I'm going to use something called Wonder Under. So how it works is you iron your Wonder Under onto the fabric you want to stick on, peel off the paper backing, and then you can just cut out your pieces, iron them where I want them, and they stick on. Wonder Under is actually a really cool supply to use just in general. I use it a bunch for appliques because you can iron something on and then sew through it, and it won't gunk up your machine, so that's another use for it. For the last technique I'm trying, someone sent me these 2D cartoon bags, and I wanted to try and mimic those. With this test, I backed the whole thing in interfacing, and I did so much ironing. I also added color block shadows in the pleats, just like in the second test, but the big change in this test was instead of painting on the black outlines, I used bias tapes. And with this test, I wanted to see if those bold outlines sold the illusion a little bit better than the sketchy ones. And I think they did. That looks pretty 2D. I'm actually really happy with this. I think this bias tape makes a lot cleaner lines, and that looks pretty 2D. I was actually gonna do more tests, but I think we found our winner. Like, even now it just looks like a sticker or a drawing that's on film. But before we hop into the next part of this project, let me take a quick break to tell you about the sponsor of this video, Temu. So Temu is a new online marketplace where you can buy all sorts of goods at wholesale prices. And most folks don't know this, but for the past 4 to 5 years, I've actually gotten a lot of my basic sewing supplies and even like a lot of my accessories from wholesale sites like Temu. And I've done that because especially for things like laces, beads, and supplies like sewing clips, it adds up quite fast at Joann's. And in high school, when I was just starting out sewing, I didn't have $40 that I could just drop on trim. But on Temu, you can get laces and trims for just a couple bucks a yard. These are just a few of the laces and trims that I bought off Temu, and for being just $1 or so a yard, I think they're really nice to add to just a petticoat or any costume. Temu also has a bunch of other affordable sewing supplies, like these sewing clips for $1.49, and even these like little cute butterfly sewing pins for just like $2. They also have a bunch of other basic art and cosplay supplies. I picked up these alligator clips for wig styling for about $5, and even hair cutting scissors to style wigs for just $2. This airbrush machine was like $20, and I'm honestly blown away by it. And I even got a new white pleated skirt to replace the skirt that I sacrificed at the beginning of this project. And if you've ever been curious as to where I've gotten like my hair clips and accessories, all of it's from wholesale sites like Temu, because a lot of my accessories were bought when I was broke and I was in college, and $2 hair clips are a really good deal. This wire jewelry headpiece I use in like every fancy hair look I do, yeah, you can find it for like $2 on Temu. We've been balling on a budget out here for a while. One thing I really do like about Temu especially is they have a lot of customer reviews, and a lot of those reviews have photographs. So I can check those out, see what it looks like in real life, and then order. And on top of already low pricing, Temu has free shipping for new users and free returns for up to 90 days. So a pretty solid deal. And as a little bonus gift, Temu gave me the code SHAYDIY, which will get you an extra 30% off at checkout. So check out the link in the description, get yourself some sewing supplies. And again, thank you so much to Temu for sponsoring this video and making this project possible. With that all said, back to the 2D dress. Now that I finally figured out the technique I'm using to make things 3D, I can finally start on the actual skirt. I'm gonna follow the exact same process as I did with my test piece, just for a whole skirt panel this time. To get my fabric super stiff, I'm gonna be ironing interfacing onto the back of it. You iron this onto the back of the fabric, and it acts as a support, making the back of the fabric stiffer, and in our case, making it flat with no wrinkles. So we've got this all ironed, now I just gonna fold it into my pleats. So he is all ironed, very pleated. Now it's time to add the black outlines. Just like I did in my test, I cut up and pinned the black bias tape to create this super clean black outline around all the edges of the skirt. Our black lines are pinned on, let's sew them in. I also added in a waistband, which was literally just a curved rectangle that I outlined in the exact same way with bias tape and attached onto the top of my skirt panel. The last step to making this skirt panel was to add the front shadows in, using the same technique of Wonder Under. Not gonna lie, I kind of just winged the shapes. I just guessed and cut out triangle-ish shapes that I thought looked like shadows. It worked, but there wasn't a whole lot of skill or thought behind the mathematical shapes of shadows. I'm not an artist, I'm just trying. Once everything was in place, I could just iron it on thanks to that Wonder Under, and the front of the skirt's pretty much done. So I added the shadows in, and this is our 2D skirt front. I think it looks really nice. I really do think it looks really 2D. Now that I've got the front done, it's time to make the back, which basically means I do the exact same process as the front all over again. So all that ironing, all that pleating, the shadows, the outline, exact same thing, we're doing it again. And now I have 2 skirts. With that, I can place my 2 skirt halves on my dress form, put them together, and we got a whole skirt. Okay, I still need to iron it a little bit, but she is looking 2D. It's definitely very cartoony. Oopsies. So I think to finish up this outfit, I'm just going to 2D-ify a nice white blouse. I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling a bit lazy. I'm just gonna go and thrift and modify. So instead of trying to sew a white blouse from scratch, I found this collared t-shirt at Goodwill that I could use as a base for my top. And then I just started chopping it into the style that I wanted. It's really all there is to it. The white shirt I found was also 3 sizes too big for me, so I had to take it in. I just turned it inside out, pinned it so it fit me, and sewed it up. Ta-da! I'm actually really proud of this. It needs a bit of ironing, but also just like a cute top, so I'm adding black lines to this the same way that I did to the skirt, just using bias tape and sewing that on. I'm not even done yet, but look at these clean lines. Oh my gosh, that looks so cute! So it's all sewn together, and this is the final top. Definitely not perfect. The boobs make it a little less 3D than I would hope, but I have boobs and there's not much I can do to 2Dify them. But with the skirt and the top done, I added a few last touches, hot gluing myself a 2D hair clip out of scraps, as well as some 2D earrings out of paper. So all that was left was to get glammed up, put everything on, and see what the final 2D outfit looked like. So without further ado, this is my attempt at making a 2D outfit. I thought this was gonna be a really simple project going into it. It was definitely a bit more of a challenge, but with the whole look together and seeing it in front of like the blank background, it does look like a little cartoon. I think it does sell the 2D effect, especially in the little stop motion clips that we took. I also don't think I took into consideration how much camera angles played a part in those 2D cake videos. So I am giving myself a little pat on the back for making something that looks 2D even when it's not in the perfect camera angle. But overall, I'm pretty proud of how this look came out, and it was a fun little experiment to do in between my bigger builds. It was nice not to have like a project that took up half my house. But that's really all for this project. For those curious about the 3D printed dress, I actually just started making it. It's gonna be a cool dress. But yeah, a lot of fun stuff coming up. I also got obsessed with 3D printing a bunch of weapons. I just have those now, huh? Look at him. I made this guy and this whole spear too. If you can name these weapons, let me know in the comments. But if you want to see the 3D printed dress video when that comes out, definitely subscribe. I'll be making a video on it. Check out my Instagram if you want to see some of the more day-to-day updates on sewing. I hope you're having a great day, and I will see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.